Recently, India celebrated its 76th Republic Day, and on that occasion, I uh, wrote an article, India of My Dreams, and I thought that I'll make that into an audio, and so this podcast is about that essay. All of us who are attached to the story of India are very much interested in seeing this great country become a holistic and happy country and recover its past glory. It is therefore worth pondering on what type of future we would like to see for our country. Uh, this podcast, the summary of the podcast, also contains a URL of this essay, which contains all the links to different articles and references. Personally, I feel that it should grow in a certain direction. That direction naturally is a product of a personal taste, and there will be as many directions suggested as there are people. But generally, we want the country to grow in a way so that all its citizens are happy and lead a fulfilling life based on the model of sustainable development. In modern times, the first to write about what type of India should be was Mahatma Gandhi, who in the early 1920s wrote India of My Dreams. Since then, thousands of books and booklets have been produced by different authors detailing about what and how they want to see as a future India. Most of them use the template of USA or China development models and try to show how India can progress by following them and even outcompete them in future. I feel both the American and Chinese experiments have failed or partially failed since they are heavily based on greed and ever increasing resource consumption and hence have resulted in all round unsustainable development, increasing chasm between rich and poor, which leads to discontent and overall unhappiness. We therefore need an out of box thinking and a new model of development which will help in the evolution of India and the world towards a holistic and sustainable society. I feel the new model of development for India should be based on the combination of its spiritual thought and modern high technology. Spirituality makes us smarter, more empathetic, and gives us wisdom to develop innovative technologies and use them for greater good. I have invested a major portion of my life thinking and working on these issues. Basically, it has been on developing technologies for sustainable rural development and in the interpretation of ancient Indian philosophical thought in the light of modern science and technology. I feel that the combination of these may provide a sustainable model for India and eventually for the world. This podcast, therefore, is an attempt to provide a roadmap of India based upon this model and also show a possible way to achieve. So, this article can be termed as a distillation of all that I have done and thought about these issues. So, who are the drivers? The first are the people. Our greatest resource is our people. We are the most populous country in the world. More than one-sixth of mankind lives in India. We have now overtaken China in terms of population since last couple of years. Our population is also the youngest in the world. Around 65% of our population is below 35 years of age, and this young population should be the engine of growth for the betterment of India. And that can only happen when youngsters are inspired to do great things and be good human beings. Higher goals are worth following, not by force but by inspiration. In my many interactions with large number of youngsters in various colleges where I go and teach, like IITs and universities, I have found they want to do something useful with their lives and achieve certain meaningful goals, but do not know how to go about doing it since they have not been guided and given proper directions. And without any direction or guidance, they naturally gravitate towards earning maximum money since the society is geared towards that and forces them to follow this path. I feel if they are guided properly with high expectation goals of achieving more for common good, they will deliver it. Smart kids want challenges. They rise to it, and higher goals will give them a purpose in life. These goals should not be geared only towards materialistic living, since this model of ever increasing demand, greed, and consumerism has failed in most of the countries and has led to runaway pollution, unsustainable living, economic disparity, and general corruption. I also feel that if we create these highly motivated individuals who think deeply about higher things and how to make this country great, then we should give them freedom to follow their dreams. When talented individuals are given freedom, they produce wonderful inventions and solutions to the problems they perceive. So, the second part of the drivers are inspirational leaders. During our independence movement, Gandhiji showed us that if we strive for higher goals and thinking, masses can be moved to achieve them. He inspired Indians through love and non-violence, and that is a goal worth emulating. The whole country followed him with youth in the forefront of his movement. They left their careers and future for his cause. My father, Shri Jagdish Prasad Rajanshi, who was 24 years old and was doing his PhD in Hindi literature from Allahabad University, left a very lucrative professional career and went to jail in 1942, Quit India movement, only because Gandhiji gave the call. Similarly, thousands of youth left their brilliant careers to help Gandhiji's cause. Sometimes even evil people can raise the consciousness of masses to follow higher goals. For example, Mao in China for nation building after their independence in 1950s, and to a lesser degree Stalin in Russia for nation saving against Hitler's onslaught in 1940s. The citizens of both China and Russia were very wary and afraid of their ruthless leaders. Yet when the call came for saving the country, they rose to the occasion. A leader therefore can inspire people to achieve the impossible. However, both Mao and Stalin were ruthless leaders and their methods extracted huge price from the citizens. There are estimates that their methods killed nearly 50 million citizens of their countries, though the exact number will never be known. Compared to this was the superior method of non-violence of Gandhiji, which gave us freedom with hardly any bloodshed. And this is what we should follow in our yearning for creating a new India and inspiring the youth. We need teachers and leaders to inspire the youth on how to become good human beings, teach them about nation building and new inventions in all different fields. For this, we will need leaders and teachers of very high moral fiber and character. So, where do we get teachers and leaders to guide youngsters? Leaders and teachers are not produced in vacuum. They are the creations of environmental conditions and situations requiring solutions. These leaders can be thought of as a high quality structures that emerge from chaos. In chaos theory, when a system becomes very unsustainable and far from equilibrium, dissipative structures are formed. It can be conjectured that all the great leaders are dissipative structures and a product of chaotic conditions occurring at a particular time. They also have the capabilities to lead and influence the events. In the history of mankind, leaders like Buddha, Christ, Adi Shankaracharya, Muhammad, Newton, Mahatma Gandhi, Einstein, etc., are prime examples of dissipative structures. Nevertheless, these are few and far between. In India, I feel there are good number of teachers in different parts of the country who inspire their students to do ethical and do great things. However, what we need is to identify them and connect them through a good network. I feel this network may grow to become a movement for the betterment of India. So, what are the conditions and issues which might give rise to such structures? The issues that the youngsters presently perceive and talk about in India are general lack of confidence in the future of India. The parents and peers always stress on money as the ultimate goal in life, and with the perception of less money making opportunities in India, they want to leave it at the earliest opportunity. The youth also perceive quite horrible overall situation of infrastructure in cities and towns. And with exploding population, the pressures on resources in every aspect of life is tremendous, leading to corruption, general breakdown of law and order, and overall feeling of uneasiness in the country. And finally, a very divisive narratives are being created in the country with good possibility of situation flaring up and leading to the breakdown of law and order. This is by no means an exhaustive list. There will be as many reasons for discontent as there are people. Nevertheless, by and large, these conditions have negatively impacted the confidence of youngsters in the country, with the result that they want to leave it and do not see their future in this country. This is a sad fact, and also it's a fact that India exports the largest manpower of any country in the world. We need to reverse it by making conditions very conducive for the youth to feel confident and stay in India and make this country great. One of the greatest crises in a country happens when its citizens lose confidence in its governance. The loss of confidence brings despair, loss of creativity, and general moroseness. Only when citizens and youngsters feel confident can they move ahead, be creative, and produce a bright future. So I think that the youth can be inspired and their confidence increase if we could sensitize them on these basic issues and continuously feed them on these things so that it gets into their thinking, their vision field, and their DNA. And these issues are how to reduce greed, increase their thirst for knowledge, improve their sense of empathy, and make them aware of the advantages of doing hard physical work. If we could somehow get these values in the DNA of these youngsters, then we'll be on the path of creating a great India. This is a tall order, but I feel it is a doable goal. So, what is the way forward? All these things that I have discussed should be taught to the youngsters in schools. It is a slow process, but it has to start now. This should be taught with positivity and not by criticizing or showing the present scenario in a bad light. Nature evolves by branching into a better design and making the previous design irrelevant and not by pulling it down. That is the approach we should follow in teaching all these virtues to the youngsters. It raises the whole system up. So the children should be taught in schools the following: moral science and ethics of work, with powerful examples from lives of great people from all occupations. We should teach about their examples. And India has a long and rich history of people who have given to the world great spiritual thought, mathematics, astronomy, great artistic creations like sculptures, paintings, etc. Inspirational stories about these great people will instill a pride in our children about our great traditions and help them emulate their examples in modern settings. Children should be encouraged to ask questions and not be afraid. In fact, one of the biggest tragedy of modern schooling in India is we never inspire the children to be curious. We need to reduce the fear and increase the curiosity factor in children. This is the first step towards creating innovators and inventors. There should be a major focus on teaching yoga, pranayam, and meditation in the schools. All these things help in creating a healthy body and mind. And meditation helps in focusing the mind on a single thought for a long time. This helps in increasing the concentration and the ability for the children to think deeply about subjects, and this is also the genesis of spirituality. And we know that greed reduction takes place when we become spiritual. So this is one of the most important things that we should teach our children. And then we should also make sure that we make them read as many books as possible, especially on Indian classics. And in order to do that, there should be strict control on social media in the schools. So the students should spend their time on creative activities of reading, interacting with each other, and discussions. And finally, to make them do hard physical work. Excuse me. We should include sports, school cleaning, making projects for the school like furniture, equipment, etc. Even growing vegetables in school compound for midday meals will be a very positive thing. Children should be regularly exposed to short films on the virtues of hard work. All these activities of physical work will make the students learn different trades like carpentry, metalworking, agriculture, etc. Besides, doing hard physical work is good for health and also keeps the mind occupied in creative pursuits. Teaching all these things is not easy, and we need good and dedicated teachers to instruct the children. I also feel that all of us should take part now and then in teaching. Children will be inspired when people who have done well in life, who have done great things, come and give lectures to them in schools and colleges. Children then will be inspired, and a simple inspiration goes a long way in making uh, their careers and making them think about what exists and what can be done. Finally, we should realize that when the nation produces bright and brave citizens and who are given freedom to achieve their potential, they can solve almost all the problems properly, then nothing is impossible for such a nation. So friends, this was a small uh, offering from me for our Republic Day, and Jai Hind and Jai Bharat. Thank you very much.